I bought books today. This is a book haul. If you watched the book buying habits tag that I filmed with my son a little while ago, you're gonna know that I don't do massive book hauls like this very often. To be quite honest, this is probably the first book haul of this size that I've done in probably close to 3 years. So with that being said, let's talk about this whole thing. Initially, when I conceived of what am I gonna film for this week, I wanted to do a little free library tour of my area because I had some books that I pulled off my shelf that I was like, I'll just donate these, trade them, figure out something to do with them instead of selling them on my Pango books, which is linked below if you wanna check that out. So I was like, I'll do a little free library tour. And coming up with that idea, I went on the little free library app. Yes, there's an app. On the app, I was zooming in looking for a very specific little free library that I thought existed. When I zoomed in on the street, I saw a bookshop called This Old Book. It's in downtown Grayslake, Illinois. That bookshop is pretty close to my house, like 10 minutes at most driving. So I was like, let's do little free libraries and go and look in that bookstore because I'm curious if it's like Half Price Books, and I'm also curious about the bookshop itself. It's close to my house, so why not? So I had mentioned This Old Book to my husband and he was like, okay, cool. And he Venmo'd me $25. And I was like, okay, so that'll be my limit for This Old Book, but I was gonna spend my own money. So now what am I gonna do with the 20 bucks that I was gonna take for myself? So I took cash out at the ATM and went to my local library where they sell books for the Friends of the Library program in a little bookshop that they call Bookends. And I was like, cool, great. I'm gonna go take my 20 bucks and spend it at the library. And then I toured some little free libraries. So what you have here is a collection of books that I bought and books that I traded, and I wanna talk about them all. So let's do it. First stop was This Old Book. Like I said, Eric gave me $25 to spend at This Old Book, and I spent $24. I did only manage to find 3 books. I would say that that's pretty comparable to Half Price Books prices. The hardcovers that I found and got for myself were $8 each, and then the paperback that I found was $6. I think that the paperbacks that I bought at Half Price Books were actually closer to $8, and hardcovers can range anywhere from $10 to $13 at Half Price Books, so maybe it's a little bit cheaper, but I will say that Half Price Books does have a much bigger variety of books to choose from. When I walked into This Old Book, the person working there immediately greeted me. I was like, hey, this is my first time here. I had no idea that this was even here. And she was like, well, what do you like to read? And I was like, well, I like to read thrillers. And she was like, you mean mystery? And I was like, no, I mean thrillers. And she's like, well, who? Like B.A. Paris, Karen Slaughter. What books from B.A. Paris have you read? And I said, well, I've only read Behind Closed Doors. And she was like, loved it. Let me see if we have any B.A. Paris in stock. And she got on the computer and she looked it up for me. And she told me that they had the book that I was looking for, which is The Therapist. I saw this at Target after I read Behind Closed Doors. And I was like, I need to get it. If you look at it, it is in pretty much perfect condition. And then I continued to peruse through their fiction. They had like a mystery section, but I found all of these in just their general fiction section, which is totally fine. Pretty Little Wife, which is by Darby Kane. This was a book of the month selection in November of 2020. I could probably look and tell you what I got in November of 2020, but I don't remember seeing this. And I will be honest, I am heavy on judging a book by the cover. There's More Than One Way to End a Marriage jumped out at me. So I don't know what this is about. I'm not gonna look up what any of these books are about because I'm feeling a little lazy. I'm not looking up what any of these books are about. I'm just showing them off, all right? So Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane. There's More Than One Way to End a Marriage jumped out at me. It was a book of the month selection for November of 2020. I like to buy book of the month books. I think that they all look really nice on my shelf behind me here. So if I can buy them for cheaper than the listing price, cool. And then I was very, very, very excited to find this next book. In my last video, which was My Husband Chose My TBR, I talked about Jane Corey, Blood Sisters. And while I was walking around and just scanning the shelves, I was like, you know what? Let me look and see if they have any Jane Corey. And guess what? They did. It is My Husband's Wife. And again, I don't care what it's about. I liked Blood Sisters. I said that I wanted to read more Jane Corey, and I am gonna uphold that want. So I got this. Once I was done in This Old Book, I tried to find my way to Little Free Library and missed the turn. So I was like, okay, we're not gonna peruse Gray's Lake today for Little Free Libraries. We're gonna just head towards my town and we're gonna hit up the library. So I stopped by the ATM and I got my 20 out so that I could go to the library and spend it. My budget was $20 and I did not go over it. I also did not stay under budget. So I spent exactly $20 in there today and I got quite a lot of books. So let's talk about the library books that I got. So I got 2 bags of books from the library today. I'm gonna tell you how much they all are in case the stickers don't show through. Normally when I go into bookends, the first step is to peruse the new releases, and I did that, but those are mostly hardcovers, and we're gonna go through the paperbacks first. First book on top of my stack of paperbacks was $1. It is by Claire Douglas. Now I read Local Girl Missing by Claire Douglas in June of this year and rated it 4 stars, so you know that I was like, get me some more Claire Douglas on this list. This is Last Seen Alive by Claire Douglas, and like I said, it was $1. Apparently someone bought it for $4.97 and then donated it to the library, and then it came home with me for $1. I have quite a large collection of Harlan Coben's works, and I do not have this next book in my collection. It is a Netflix book club recommendation, and it's called Stay Close. This one was $2 because I want to say that it is a newer release, but also Harlan Coben's books range anywhere from $2 to $4 in the library. I don't think that I found one for less than $1. $2, not bad. This one's in pretty good condition for a paperback, so I am very excited to add this to my collection of Harlan Coben's. This next book is a little bit more battered and beat up. It is deemed a national bestseller. It says on the inside cover, "A woman condemned by the truth, her daughter saved by a lie." This is The Heretic's Daughter by Kathleen Kent. It was $1. I read the back of it in the library and I was like, yeah, I need that. A lot of the books that I found are thrillery. I did find some romance books and I did buy a book that I have read already, but I need to add more to my personal romance library, and so I bought Josh and Hazel's Guide to Dating for $1 by Christina Lauren. It's a little beat up. There's a little damage to the front, but for $1, I can't complain. I really liked Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating when I read it, and it came with a bookmark already in there that says spread those pages, and I was like, how perfect for a romance bookmark. I think that's probably the only romance book that I have though, because this is another thriller. It is by Nina Lauren. It is called Girl Last Seen, and I bought it for $1. I just read the first line on the back cover because I don't like to know too much about books before I read them. Otherwise, I find myself trying to guess as I'm reading. And this just says, Olivia Shaw has been missing since last Tuesday. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's $1. It works. It's coming with me. It's a thriller, so I probably will enjoy it because, you know, most of the time I enjoy my thrillers, but sometimes, you know, you get hit. The next one is a book that has a lot of author blurbs on the front, and I think that the one that stood out to me most was from Elizabeth George. It says, "This is a novel everyone should read. It's brilliant." And we are talking about This Is How It Always Is by Lori Frankel. I did read the back of this, and it sounds like it's about a family keeping a secret of a child who wants to transition. And so I think that this has the potential to be a book that will make me sob my heart out. And sometimes I just need to read a book that will make me sob my heart out. So most of my paperback books from the library were $2 and under, which is on par. You can get some stuff for 50 cents, 25 cents, but I have had quite the week at work. I did not feel like getting my phone calculator out and being that person trying to calculate 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents to add up to $20. So I just went for solid number books and did not really peruse the sales section. I have never seen a book be more than $4 at the library, but I do have a couple of $4 books in here, which really helped bump me up to that $20. So let's go through the hardcover. Up first, I think that we have a historical fiction. It is called In Memoriam by Alice Wynne, and I want to say that it follows 2 men during World War I who fall in love with each other. It was $4, but it's a hardcover and it's in pretty good shape. So no complaints from me. I am very excited to read this. Historical fiction, not my favorite, but I am trying to read more of it. And when it comes to historical fiction, World War I, World War II, historical fiction are kind of what I find to be the most consumable for me. That's what I've read the most of when it comes to historical fiction anyway. I found 2 more B.A. Paris books. They are withdrawn library books, which I know a lot of people don't really want to see the library spine on their bookshelf, but I don't care. I could always take this off if I wanted to and not have this plastic protective covering that the library puts on it, but I don't care. This is The Breakdown by B.A. Paris, and I don't care what it's about because I like Behind Closed Doors and I want to read more from her. So I bought it and it was only $1, so I don't care what it's about. I also got The Dilemma from B.A. Paris, which was also, oh no, I'm sorry, this one was $2. Yeah, again, something that I don't care what it's about. I was like, it's coming home with me. I also let my friends borrow my books, so I feel like we'll get the $2 out of the reads if all of us read it. I have Fiona Barton's The Widow, which was $1, and this says on the inside cover, I read the first paragraph blurb. When the police started asking questions, Jean Taylor turned into a different woman, one who enabled her and her husband to carry on when more bad things began to happen. But that woman's husband died last week and Jean doesn't have to be her anymore. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds interesting enough. We'll see how it goes. We also got The Uninvited by Liz Jensen. This one was $1, and it's about children who start killing their families, which normally wouldn't be my cup of tea, but since I am aware going into this that it's about children killing their families and children doing horrible things, I was like, okay, I've prepared myself for this, and I will let you know how gruesome it is. As we have discussed, I really like to have Book of the Month books on my shelf because they look so nice. And this one is another one from 2020 that I passed over, probably for something else that caught my attention, or maybe I skipped that month. Who knows? I don't know why I didn't pick People Like Her by Ellery Lloyd, but I bought it today for $4, and it's about like a momfluencer. So I think that I have an idea for what to do with this book, and I'm very excited for when we come to the idea that's ruminating for this book. So that is the end of the library haul. I got 12 books for $20 from the library, and I feel like that is not bad. So far we have 15 books and I spent 34 and some change on the book. 44 and some change in books. I'm not the best at math, if you can't tell. After we rounded out my library shopping, it was time for me to go and peruse the little free libraries. I went to several different ones, and I did vlog a little bit on my phone during this experience. The problem is that a lot of little free libraries in my area are in people's yards, and I feel like it's weird for me to film in their yard. Not even in the sense of like vlogging in public weird, but like that's someone's home, and I don't feel comfortable putting my own home on the internet like outside, so why should I feel comfortable putting somebody else's home on the internet? I will tell you that I felt very strange walking up to people's houses, but no one said anything, no one was really out. It was still the work day when I was out perusing. Some of them I did not have any luck in, and that's okay. Some of them I was able to get 1 or 2 books. The last one that I stopped at, I traded out 3 books that I had brought with me. Let's go through it. I took about 8 books with me to trade, and I walked away with 6 books for myself. So not too bad. Let's go through it. Some of them are even hardcover, which is exciting. On my last stop, which is the one that is closest to my house, there were 2 different boxes, which I really think is a great idea. One of the boxes was only adult books, and then there was a teen, like children's YA kind of box. I didn't look in that one because I didn't have any children's books to trade, but I did look in the adult one, and I managed to find 3 books to bring home with me. I have Close Enough to Touch, which is by Colleen Oakley. All I read was One Time a Boy Kissed Me and I Almost Died. That sounds great to me. It reminds me of a little bit like Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, but an adult version. I grabbed it and traded out some other books. No, I don't remember what I traded. I just grabbed books that I had meant to list in my Pango bookshop, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go trade some books. So this was one of them. I also found a book that's on my Kindle Unlimited reading list, which means that I can return that book and get something else instead. It is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak, and I think this is the one that was comparable to Anything by Riley Sager and Stranger Things, and I'm like, hey, that's me, I'm the target audience, and now I have the physical version so I can return the Kindle version. We just got cut off because I was talking for 25 minutes straight, and apparently I've reached the limit for my camera staying on without powering down at 25 minutes. I found a library book that was withdrawn and placed within that little free library. It's from my library, so it was $1, but I got it for free by trading a book, and it's by Lisa Jewell. It's The Third Wife by Lisa Jewell. If you know anything about me, you know that I love Lisa Jewell, and I have a shitload of her books in my collection, and so I'm very excited to add another one. This is another author where it's like, I don't care what the book's about. If it's the author that I know, she's coming home with me, and so here she is. I went to 3 different little free libraries that are like sponsored by my local Lions Club, and they were all around this lake, and really fun driving to them because it's a beautiful day outside. So I found 2 books in one of their little free libraries around the lake. One of them did not have the box. It was just a post, no box with books. And the other one, I didn't have any luck at that one. And then I went to the Presbyterian Church and found another book. We found Mary Kay Andrews, The Newcomer. After she discovers her sister Tanya dead on the floor of her fashionable New York City townhouse, Letty is certain she knows who did it. Tanya's ex sleazy real estate entrepreneur Evan. And I was like, hey, that sounds like it could be pretty fun. Could this fish out of water be in too deep? I'm like, oh, okay, it sounds a little mystery thrillery. We'll see. It was $6. I traded it for free. In the same little free library that I got The Newcomer from, I also found what I would deem probably a cozy mystery, judging by the cover, of course. Leslie Meyer's Invitation Only Murder. Look at the penguins on the cover. I just was like, oh, that's so cute. And then I opened the book up and I was like, okay. With family tensions intensifying in Tinker's Cove, part-time reporter Lucy Stone could really use some time off the grid. But after she RSVPs to an unconventional celebration on remote Holiday Island, Lucy realizes that disconnecting from reality comes at a deadly price. There were 2 Lucy Meyer books in there. This one sounded more interesting than the other one, which I don't remember what it was called. At the Presbyterian Church, amongst all of the Christian pamphlets, I found Lucy Foley's The Paris Apartment. It's a little beaten down and battered, but I was more than happy to trade one of my books for it because I read the guest list and I fucking loved that book. So I got it. I think that I skipped, as a matter of fact, I know that I skipped The Paris Apartment when it was a book of the month selection because I swear that my children's grandmother told me that it wasn't good. And then she was like, Brittany, I told you that it was good. And so I felt like I missed out. And yeah, I could have bought it for another $15 from Book of the Month, but I got it for free by trading a book. So here we are. And with that all being said, that concludes my book haul. We went home today, $44 poorer and 21 books richer. I need to reorganize and rearrange my bookshelves at some point, and I want to take you guys along with me, but I want to know if that's something that you're curious to see or not, especially now that I have these books. I have an entire open shelf all the way across my wall that I want to fill with books, hence this. That way my shelves are just completely chock full. You want to see me reorganize and rearrange my bookshelves? Let me know. I'll go through every single book in my collection and we can talk about it. That'll probably be like a 2-hour long video, simply just me showing books. But if it's something you're curious about, let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. Tell me, please, in the comments below, in your area, are little free libraries like in parks or are they largely in people's yards? I'm very curious. I will see you next week and hopefully I will not be as congested as I am today. Bye.